Octavian Thorne, a much-decorated Royal Navy captain, has made it through major battles without injury but cannot seem to get through a single encounter with Lady Sydney Harcourt unscathed. The hoyden is beautiful, brilliant, and trouble with a capital T, and yet he would risk everything to protect her, even, dear heaven, marrying her. Lady Sydney Harcourt, bluestocking and ton misfit, adores Captain Octavian Thorne. He is brave, dashing, and all the young ladies are after him. So what chance does she have to capture the heart of this big, brawny hero when he is constantly pulling her out of scrapes and she does nothing but rile him? Now her father is trying to sell her to the highest bidder in order to pay off his gambling debts. Worse, he has squandered not only her dowry but the inheritance she received from her grandmother, so she hasn't the means to run away. When Octavian proposes a marriage of convenience to help her out, she accepts. Octavian deserves everything and she comes to him with nothing. Can her heart alone ever be enough? Or will their marriage always be make-believe? She will be no man's prize. Evangeline Armstrong is resolved to evade the strategic marriage arranged for her by her father, the Hawk of Inverfire. She feigns compliance, intending to flee to the King's Court for protection once her party is away from Inverfire. Instead, she is seized by Ramsay MacLaren, an outlaw and her father's sworn enemy, and compelled to wed him. Ramsay MacLaren owes a debt to the eldest daughter of the Hawk of Inverfire, one he will never forget, just as he cannot forget the beguiling beauty who helped him escape her father's dungeon. He has learned that no other woman can satisfy him, though he knows the Hawk would never allow their match. When Ramsay witnesses Evangeline's departure with only a small party, he sees his chance and claims her for his own. In morning's light, Evangeline fears that Ramsay's sweet words were solely to earn her capitulation and support his claim to Inverfire. All the same, she cannot regret the marvel of his touch. Does she dare to trust the warrior whose kiss ignites her very soul? For his part, Ramsay finds himself captivated by the woman he has taken to wife even at the expense of his own plan for vengeance. Can he truly destroy all of import to her to avenge the past? When Ramsay is challenged by Evangeline's wealthy betrothed, how can he choose between his vow to his family and the lady who holds his heart in thrall? Experience has taught Simon Beckham that love only leads to grief. Although he needs to marry someday and produce an heir, for now he prefers a fun dalliance. A smile, a wink, a pretty compliment, and women tumble into his bed willingly except for one irritatingly attractive sharp-tongued harpy named Lady Charlotte Talbot. Lady Charlotte Talbot does not suffer fools, particularly the buffoon Simon Beckham, with his handsome face and roguish grin. The man doesn't have a serious bone in his all-too-tempting body. Although she has no intention of being leg-shackled to any man, when her brother attempts to foist an arranged marriage on her to an abusive suitor no less, even that incorrigible rake Simon seems preferable. After the two are discovered in a compromising situation, they strike an agreement. A marriage of convenience, saving Charlotte's reputation in exchange for providing Simon an heir. Love isn't part of the bargain. She's working hard to overcome a life of being overlooked by her boss, the constant pressure of being set up on blind date after blind date by her best friend, and the need to prove to herself that she is capable of succeeding on her own. She doesn't need a man in her life threatening her carefully controlled world. Everything she's worked for seems to not be amounting to anything. He's trying to continue his grandfather's legacy even when he feels like he doesn't belong. He's worked his whole life to be a part of a family that never wanted him. And he's dealing with the aftermath of his recent breakup. Everything he's worked for seems to be crumbling around him. When strangers turn friends, he offers her the perfect arrangement. To their family and friends, they are the ideal couple caught up in a whirlwind romance, but behind closed doors they are free to live the lives they want. When nouveau-rich Clara Woodvine attends her first high society ball, she's expecting it to be the most wonderful night of her life. Unfortunately, it turns out to be the worst. When Clara overhears her would-be fiancé has bet her and her dowry away in a card game to the Duke of Combe, aka the divorced Duke, all hopes for a happily ever after seem lost. Silas Winters, the Duke of Combe, has spent over a year brooding in misery after the end of his toxic marriage. Saddled with crippling anxiety and the reasonability of recovering Clara's reputation, Silas proposes a marriage based on friendship and nothing more. Clara accepts, but only on the condition that she understands this is a marriage of convenience because Silas is determined never to love again. But when the past comes back to haunt them, will Silas realize that love is something he can choose? And will Clara be able to stand up for those she loves, even if she must do it alone? I never expected to be a runaway bride. Leaving my jerk of a fiancé at the altar seemed like a great idea at the time but has left me with a laundry list of problems. Problems I can only outrun for so long. I came to Sweetside because it was about as far as I could get from the life I left behind, hoping to buy some time to come up with a plan to take control of my future. Instead, a plan finds me. Billionaire Fynn Hathaway is the total package. He's tall, dark, and handsome, with a voice that could melt the panties off a nun. He's also been having a few issues of his own. Issues I think I can solve. As long as he agrees to my stipulations. The main one being, he becomes my new husband. When you are offered a huge paycheck that would resolve all your life's problem, saying yes might be the only option. Plus my boss is pretty easy on the eyes. Probably has no idea that I have this huge crush on him. Or that he's like a ray of sunshine in my life every day. Except the guy that showed up at the altar is not him. The one I was just made to get married to is my boss's older twin brother. The heir to the Bradford Enterprise. The dark brooding man that everyone calls a beast. The one that stays completely out of the spotlight. The one surrounded by all kinds of rumors, bad ones. Before I can escape, he hauls me away to his huge mansion. Away from everything. And he says for better or worse. We are stuck together. At 18, I was forced to marry so I could pay my college tuition. Enter Caleb Cunningham, my best friend's brother and Navy SEAL. I needed my inheritance, he needed money to cover his dad's hospital bills. It seemed like a win-win. The marriage didn't last, but that's okay. It was a marriage of convenience. At least, that's what I told myself. Over a decade later, Grandma's still pulling the strings from beyond the grave. Her last wish. For me to live with my estranged husband for 6 months, or I lose everything, my company and my employees' livelihoods included. Now, I'm stuck with Caleb, the rugged, infuriating, and the man who once broke my heart. The deal is simple. He'll stay with me for the next 6 months as long as I give him, well, everything. He wants control. He wants my grandmother's penthouse. And, of course, he wants the Bentley. Caleb seems determined to make my life hell, and is enjoying every minute of it. But if he thinks I'm going down without a fight, he's got another thing coming. It takes 2 to make a marriage, and it'll take 2 to crash it into the ground.